My wife and I currently have 19 credit cards in our two-player setup that have allowed us to get the best point multipliers for our highest spending categories and have allowed us to accumulate a significant amount of credit card points that we've redeemed in order to travel much more frequently than we otherwise would have been able to. So in this video, myself and my wife Lucia are going to discuss the 19 credit cards that we have in our two-player setup at age 23. And to do so, we put together a presentation that we're going to go over, which discusses the timing of each credit card and when we got it, the specific reason that we got that card at the time that we did, and how that credit card is being used in our current credit card strategy. Okay, so if we jump right into this presentation that we put together, we're gonna cover a couple different things for each of the credit cards that we have in our two-player setup. So we'll start with the timing. So it's gonna be exactly when we got each of these credit cards. Then we'll also talk about the rationale. So this is gonna be the exact reason that we added each of these credit cards to our setup in the first place and the purpose that they served. And then finally, we'll also get into whether that credit card is currently in our current credit card strategy, and if it is, how exactly we are using that card. Okay, so the very first credit card that I added to my credit card setup and to our two-player setup was the Alaska Airlines card, which I added in June of 2020. This was my first ever credit card, so I wasn't super knowledgeable in the area of credit cards, and I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest. But I did live in the Seattle area, and Alaska Airlines is a really popular airline in this area. And the Alaska Airlines credit card is a really popular card that a lot of people have. So I just figured by my surroundings, what I saw other people using, that this was a good card to have. And my parents had this card as well. So they were also influential in telling me to get this card. In my current credit card setup, so our current credit card strategy with my wife Lucia, it's mainly a sock drawer card, but we do utilize this card to get a companion pass every single year, which we're able to use as a positioning flight. So what I mean by that is we basically use that companion pass to get from Seattle to another destination that's going to give us a better opportunity to catch an award flight somewhere else. So as an example, we are going to be flying from Seattle to Houston on Alaska Airlines in February. And the reason for that is because Houston is a great middle ground to actually get to Central and South America. There's a lot of potential flight redemptions that you can take from Houston. So we utilize the Alaska card mainly for one flight per year with that companion pass and to be able to use that as a positioning flight.
Hi everyone, I'm Lucia. I'm going to be going over my cards. The first one that I added to our two-player setup was the Discover Student Cashback card. I added this my junior year of college in September of 2020. This was a great first card as it's a no annual fee card and Discover matches your cashback the first year. As far as my current setup with it, I don't really use it. As we have here, it's more of a sock drawer card. And I don't plan on ever closing this card as it is a no annual fee card. And I recently added my sister to it as an authorized user just to get her established with her credit history.
The next credit card that I added to my setup was the Hilton Honors card, which I added in summer of 2021. So this was the summer after my junior year of college when I was about 21 years old. The reason that I added this card is because I was looking for cards that did not have annual fees, but also had high welcome bonuses, because I think it's really important to prioritize cards with no fees first, so that you can keep those open forever and increase the length of your credit history. But then I also wanted to be able to rack up a decent amount of credit card points that I could utilize for some future travel. So I know Hilton points typically have really high sign-up bonus offers, and I know those points typically are a little bit less valuable than like flexible points currencies with Chase and American Express, but I did get a lot of value out of this card by being able to use that sign-up bonus and the points that I earned to be able to take some of those trips that I wanted to go on. In our current two-player credit card strategy, it is pretty much a sock drawer card, but it doesn't have an annual fee. So I pretty much will never need to cancel this card, and I'll just continue to put like coffee every couple months or something small on this card to keep it open every year.
The second card that I added was the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I added this in June of 2021. The reason I got this card at the time was because I kept seeing TikToks about the very high welcome bonus. It was 100,000 points. So I went out on a limb and I applied for it and thankfully got approved. When I applied for this card, I definitely didn't know how valuable it was going to be for us in the long run. The main reason being that Chase has some awesome travel partners that were able to transfer our points from this card, our Freedom Flex and our Unlimited to those partners. As far as my everyday usage with this card, I don't really use it on a daily basis. I primarily just have it to be able to use Chase's travel partners.
The next credit card that I added to my credit card setup was the Hilton Surpass card. So this was another Hilton card that I added in November 2021. And I added this card because I wanted to expand into the Hilton ecosystem. This had a really high sign-up bonus offer as well. And I wanted to utilize those Hilton points to be able to use for some future travel that I had planned in the future, such as when we went on our honeymoon. And then also having Hilton Gold status with the Surpass card was huge as well for free breakfast and space available room upgrades and things like that. In our current credit card setup, this is pretty much a sock drawer card, but we did utilize this card a lot in 2023 in order to acquire a Hilton free night certificate by putting $15,000 in spending on the card, which we were able to do because we leveraged some of our higher wedding expenses and put that on this card. Then I was able to redeem that free night award at the Waldorf Astoria Cancun, which was a super valuable property worth over $1,000. Next up, I added the Chase Freedom Flex in December of 2021. And I added this card because I really wanted to make sure that I got into the Chase ecosystem. And I was still prioritizing credit cards that did not have annual fees. So the Freedom Flex just made a lot of sense for my credit card strategy and the credit card strategy that I had with my wife, Lucia. It also had a great welcome bonus offer because I was able to get the $200 cash back, but then also 5% back on grocery stores, I believe it was, during the first year. In my current credit card setup, I do still use this card for 5x back on rotating quarterly categories. And then I take the points that I earned from that and I transfer it up to a card I'll talk about in a second, in order to leverage Chase's travel partners and get the highest redemption value possible.
The third card that we added to our two-player setup was the Hilton Surpass in December of 2021. This was mostly influenced by Matt for sure, because this was definitely peak Hilton obsession for Matt. So I was able to get a pretty high welcome bonus, which ended up being very valuable because I was able to transfer those points over to Matt's account and we combined our points for our honeymoon this summer. With that being said, I'm actually planning on downgrading this card this December before my annual fee post. And this is simply because Matt already has this card and he already has gold status and the priority pass. And we normally travel together, so it only really makes sense for one of us to have it since it is an annual fee card. The next card that I got was the Freedom Flex. I got this January of 2022. And with my welcome bonus, I was able to get $200 cash back once I met my spending requirement. And for the first year, I was able to get 5% back on all gas purchases, which was really, really nice. Matt and I were still long distance during this time, so we were constantly spending a lot of money on gas, so this was a very valuable card. As far as usage goes, I would say it kind of fluctuates depending on the rotating category. For instance, I believe this summer the category was gas, and so this was my dedicated gas card for this summer just because I was able to get 5% back. And since it's a no annual fee card, I don't plan on ever getting rid of this card.
Next up, I added the other Chase Freedom card, which was the Chase Freedom Unlimited. I added this card in February of 2022, and I added it because it was still in the Chase ecosystem, and I wanted to make sure I did everything I could to add Chase credit cards because of the Chase 524 rule. Then it also did not have an annual fee, so same strategy of prioritizing those no-fee cards first to increase the length of my credit history. This also was a catch-all card that I used in my setup to get 1.5x back on all of the purchases that I was making. And then in our current two-player credit card strategy, we still do use this card as our catch-all card, so all those purchases that fall outside of some of our main spending categories like grocery stores or dining. After waiting a couple months because I was over 524 and I was in Chase jail, I was finally able to add the Chase Sapphire Preferred in July of 2022. So the rationale for that card is that I needed to be able to maximize my Chase points. So we were already earning Chase points on the Freedom Flex and Freedom Unlimited, and I wanted to take those points, transfer them up to my Sapphire Preferred, then actually be able to utilize Chase's travel partners, which is how I'm able to maximize the value I get from Chase points. I was already able to utilize a transfer bonus to transfer Chase points over to Aeroplan. And I'm going to be using Aeroplan to book business class flights to Central America and South America in February. So they've gotten a lot of value from the Sapphire Preferred, and I also wanted to make sure that I locked it in before we got further into 524. And in our current two-player credit card setup, we still do utilize the Sapphire Preferred as our core travel card to have access to Chase's travel partners, and really maximize the value from our Chase points.
The fifth card that I added was the Freedom Unlimited. I got this in October of 2022 and I was able to complete my Chase trifecta with this card. This is a really nice card to have since you do get 1.5x back on all purchases and it's a no annual fee card.
All right, the seventh card that I added to my setup in October 2022 was the American Express Gold card. I added this card because one, I wanted the ability to earn flexible American Express points. This was a daily driver card for us because groceries and dining are our two highest spending categories. And then I was able to organically use the Uber and dining credits because I lived in an area where those services were accessible and I was already using those food delivery services a couple times a month anyways. In our current credit card setup, this is still our daily driver card because we do eat a lot of food, so grocery stores and dining definitely help out. And then I still am able to utilize those credits every single month to lower my effective fee. And then we utilize this card so the points that we earn from being our daily driver card to transfer out to American Express's travel partners.
The next card that I added was the American Express Gold. I got this in November of 2022. We specifically opened this card during this time because we were newly engaged and we knew there was going to be a lot of wedding expenses in the upcoming year. And so we wanted to take advantage of that and be able to get a new card with a high welcome bonus. And thanks to CJ's referral link, I was able to sign up for a welcome bonus of 90,000 points. I primarily use this card when I go grocery shopping or for food, going out to eat, getting coffee or anything like that, as you're able to get 4x back on those purchases. We definitely take advantage of our Grubhub and Uber credits, and so we use those every month.
Next up, in March of 2023, the first business card that I got was the Hilton Honors Business. The rationale for why I got that card is for, first of all, I needed to protect my 524 status because I wanted to get some of the Chase Ink cards, but I simply just could not because I was already pretty far into Chase jail. So I went ahead and got this card because I was looking for business cards that had high sign-up bonuses, and I was able to get 165,000 Hilton Honors points from this card. And then it also gave me Hilton Gold status, which was awesome for the space available room upgrades, and then the food and beverage credit as well. In our current credit card strategy, we basically have an overlap because the Hilton Surpass and Hilton Honors Business are very similar, and they still give you those Hilton Gold status and then Priority Pass and things like that. So my plan is to downgrade the Surpass card to the no annual fee version, and then continue to keep the Hilton Business Card open for longer.
The next card that I added was the Citi Custom Cash in March of 2023. As we have noted below, Matt wanted to get this card, but he was in Chase jail and he wasn't willing to risk it all for this card. So I got it, and it's been a nice card because now that the Freedom Flex no longer has the 5x back on gas, this is my dedicated gas card. The eighth card that I added was the Capital One Savor one. I got this about 2 months later in May of 2023. And as you can see, there's no real downside to this card since it is a no annual fee card. Savor One comes with the Uber One membership, and we use that along with our Amex Gold Uber Eats credit.
Next up, in June of 2023, I added the American Express Business Gold card. My plan was still to protect my 524 status, so I was looking for business cards with high sign-up bonus offers. And this one gave me the ability to earn 100,000 American Express points, which again, I really thought were very valuable to us because the American Express ecosystem was really good, and I really liked the travel partners that we had access to with American Express points. So in my current credit card strategy with my wife, Lucia, we don't really use this card that often because we already have the American Express Gold card and there is a lot of overlap with those categories. But the American Express Business Gold card did recently get revamped. They increased the annual fee, but they did add some credits, so I'm going to be utilizing $20 of Grubhub credits per month, but I still will likely cancel this card after year one. I'll probably contact American Express and see what they can do in terms of retention offers, and based on what they're able to do, will determine what I decide to do with this card.
And the last card that I've added so far is the Bilt card. I got this in July of 2023. There's zero downside to this card as it doesn't have an annual fee. We use this card to pay rent, and we also use it to pay for our phone bill and also for our gym membership. We also take advantage of Bilt Rent Day, and we specifically have a date night as we're able to get 6x back on that dining purchase.
The most recent credit card that we added to our two-player credit card strategy was the Marriott Business Card, which I added in August 2023. The rationale for this card is that number one, I wanted some ecosystem diversity. So I was seeing that the global footprint for Marriott was much better than Hilton and a lot of the places I wanted to travel to. So definitely wanted to make sure I could get some exposure to the Marriott ecosystem. I still wanted to protect my 524 status, so it made sense that I stick with business cards so that I could finally get the Chase Ink cards in November when I came out of Chase jail. And then this welcome bonus also really appealed to me because it had a specific use case. I was able to get 3 free nights, which I'm specifically going to use in Bogota, Colombia when I travel there in February. In our current credit card setup, we are pretty much putting all of our spend on the Hilton business card right now to make sure that we meet that spend requirement to get the 3 free nights. We're basically there, but just a little bit more spending. And then we'll go back to our overall credit card setup. I hope this was helpful in showing you the power that a 2-player credit card setup can have. We're definitely utilizing the points that we're earning to be able to travel much more often than we otherwise would have been able to. So we're super grateful for some of the different credit cards that we've involved in our journey and helped us to maximize the value that we're getting. But thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and peace.